and welcome to Plate Exchange, a subsidiary of On the Ring Apron. I'm Steve. It's been a little while since we've seen you. You know, life gets in the way, but hey, it's officially WrestleMania week, WrestleMania 39. It goes Hollywood, live from Los Angeles this upcoming Saturday and Sunday. We've got Kia running the camera today, a rare treat for her to join us, so say hey to everyone.
Hello, everyone.
So enthusiastic. You can tell she's tired of working, but she's ready to roll. But we're going to go ahead and get us started. We've got an entire week's worth of good material for you here. Of course, our top rope spoilers coming up later this week for both NXT Stand and Deliver. Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes main eventing that one for the NXT Championship. Ladder match for the NXT Women's title. All 5 titles are actually on the line. 2 of them will be involved in our show here today. And then, of course, you've got WrestleMania over 2 nights, Saturday night and Sunday, where we will have, of course, the main event, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, challenging Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, trying to end his 940-plus day run as the WWE Universal Champion. So, suffice to say, a lot of fun's coming up. I mean, if your adrenaline's not up this week, I'm not really sure what else to tell you here. Maybe you're not a fan of wrestling as much as everyone else, but we're excited. But we want to go ahead and start things off with our latest episode of Plate Exchange. We wanted to make sure that all the title changes that were going to take place prior to WrestleMania had happened, let all the episodes go by, and we're kind of wagering that there will be no title changes over Raw, NXT, and SmackDown this week to allow us to be able to do so. Hey, if they do, it'll just be included in the WrestleMania episode. We always do, of course, a big one post-WrestleMania. For anyone who has not seen our post also on our community page on YouTube, we are closing in on 4,000 subscribers. I think we're like 3 or 4 away at the time of this recording, so thank you guys so much for helping to build that up. We are intending on doing a giveaway if we can cross 4,000 before we head to LA. We're going to do something live from just outside of SoFi Stadium, so get that subscriber count up, promote us. You know, if you're going to be in LA, come see us. Come say hey. We wear the jerseys. We'll have the new ones, so this one's going to be kind of the retirement of this one, because you're going to see us in our new ones. If you haven't checked out the Mania Club page, take the time to do so. And, of course, be sure to check out our shows. You never know what we might do and who might show up. So I guess we'll wait to see how all that plays out. But let's get to why you're here. This is, as I said, Plate Exchange, where we show off our beautiful replica belts and put the new plates on them. And as you heard from the theme, no doubt, the Hall of Famer, Lita, once again holding gold for the first time in 11 years, as she wins the Women's Tag Team Championships along with the man Becky Lynch, who has herself a new set of plates herself. They ended up defeating Damage Control a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Raw and are now set for a very impressive 6-woman tag team match at WrestleMania. They're our main event this evening, so we do have a couple of other ones to go through first, so we'll switch over to those.
I'm not
a little bit of movement. Go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I am very excited about Mania season. It happens every year, and it gives me something to look forward to with you, with Alyssa, with our fans, with Mania Club. It's like family, wrestling family, and
it does.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Maybe we're that royal family that Cody talks about at the beginning of his theme. Maybe that's us.
Hey, who knows?
But yeah, I mean, if your adrenaline's not up at this time of year, I'm not really sure what else to tell you. But let's move into our first of the 3 title changes that have happened since our last episode. We begin with the NXT Women's Tag Team title. So both women's championships have actually changed hands since we were last with you guys. And we do have new champions dated all the way back to NXT Vengeance Day. We actually saw 2 title changes at Vengeance Day. So we'll be going over both of those. The first, the very surprising title change of Kiana James and Fallon Henley winning the NXT Women's Tag titles over the team of Katana Chance and Kayden Carter. I think this was like the only one where we were confident that there wasn't going to be a title swap here, and boy, did they throw a monkey wrench at us for that one.
Actually, let's rephrase that. I knew some underhanded stuff was going to happen. I also knew that they were going to win it somehow, some way, even when they were not on the same team. But for a title, you get on the same page as the other person.
So with that, and that's true. I guess you did pick them.
I
know
did.
You're trying to catch up on the show, but
Oh,
hey,
yes.
you know you picked up the points wherever you can pick them up. But
Exactly.
with that, we do say goodbye to the longest reigning women's tag titles, WWE or NXT.
Mm-hmm.
That is Kayden Carter's, and that is Katana Chance's.
Nice.
So we say bye to their plates here, and we show off the new championship plates that are up of both Kiana James, the very lawyer-esque type, looks like something you'd see on the side of a billboard or something. And then, of course, the little more strapping, little more southern Fallon Henley. For those who have been watching NXT, and Kia will let you throw in your 2 cents in here shortly.
Okay.
They, still having a hard time getting along. A lot of the stuff that's going on with Brooks and Jensen are still causing internal issues, but it seems like each time that, they're on the brink of this friendship or relationship or whatever you want to call this ending, they seem to get the advantage of finding a common enemy, and in this case it does fall in their opponents at Stand and Deliver, which will be Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, two absolute mistress-esque type of people, the witch powers of Isla Dawn, the fire, the pyromaniac attitude of Alba Fire. So, you look at it and you say, okay, from a absolute advantage perspective, Alba and Isla easily having the advantage. We'll let you see the 4 different plates there all together. Kiana and Fallon not really teaming together for that long, but with respects, neither have Alba and Isla, but they've been successful both during their times. But it does seem like this is going to be one where Fallon and Kiana are going to have to find a way to, to make it shake, for so to speak, because I'm not sure that, definitely not individually, but maybe they can find a way to work together as a team. I do feel like at Vengeance Day it was kind of one of those, right moment, right time kind of deals, and it worked out. But can they do the same against Isla and Alba? Of course, we have the official picks later on, but Kia, we can let you throw your perspective into what they've been dealing with and also what's coming up.
Oh, I'm excited. Women's tag team has been hot as of late. Thank you to Katana and Casey. I'm so used to calling Kayden. I'm so used to calling her that. It's just exciting. But the whole thing with Henley and her partner Kiana, they're a great tag team. I'm not gonna lie to you. I saw something from moment one as far as ring presence, and they finally got on the same page and were able to work together. Now, as far as outside the ring, I feel like there's some underhanded, fishy stuff going on. I feel like Fallon knows a lot, but she's having to hold back to make sure she doesn't say too much. First of all, you don't want to lose your partner, and second of all, you don't want to lose your friendship to the fellas that you've been with for a very, very long time. But you could kind of tell they like you said, they find a common enemy and they work together to keep those titles, because those titles mean more than all the stuff that's going on outside the ring.
Exactly.
And as far as Isla and Alba, that's an unlikely pair, but I think they fit well together. Honestly, you've got, again, like you said, Alba Fire, who's into pyro and fire. You've got Isla, who's got that witchy type presence. It makes for a good team, and to get on the same page at the same time to work together. Who cares what y'all got going outside the ring? It's what's going on inside the ring.
And you're seeing it not just in NXT, but you're seeing it with the WWE women's division as well. Lita and Becky this time a year ago couldn't stand each other.
No, they could
not.
not.
But now here they are and holding the women's tag titles on the main roster. And it's not like there hasn't been a historical play of two people who kind of get forced to team together, and ultimately it ends up working out. If you need a perfect example, look back at Cesaro and Sheamus. They could not. They hated each other for years, and then became one of the most successful tag teams you've ever seen in WWE's history. So, all of that being considered, you look at it and you say, this isn't so far-fetched that a team like, Kiana James and Fallon Henley can be able to make the ends meet and make it work, but they're up against, definitely a superior force on paper in terms of Alba and Isla. You wondered maybe it's a little soon, because Isla, has only been here a couple of months at this stage, but also maybe that's exactly why it's the perfect time. And, you hate to think that maybe they're just, this is a holdover because they didn't want Katana and Kayden to lose the titles to Isla and Alba. But it certainly threw a shock into the NXT universe at Vengeance Day for this title change to happen. So, hey, congrats to Fallon and to Kiana. Fallon actually follows us now.
Nice.
So that was a sweet little out of nowhere. We kind of, I don't know if she saw them or, just saw our congratulations or whatever, but another follower for us. So if you're Fallon, if you're watching this, congratulations. We'll be there rooting for you. Rise and shine on Saturday. So good luck to you and Kiana in your match. So here was our first of our 3 here. Go ahead and slide these over, and we will move to our second of 3, which also happened at Vengeance Day, and that is the Gallus boys now on top as they now run the NXT Tag Team division. Of course, they ruled over for quite some time. They were the beneficiaries of being the tag team champions in the UK when the pandemic hit and the UK brand was shut down for close to a year. So the Gallus boys getting credit with a 300+ day reign, despite not having an opportunity to be able to compete. But at Vengeance Day, they went ahead and took back what they felt was theirs, winning a 4-way match to win the NXT Tag Team titles over at the time, the incumbent champions, the New Day. And not only that, the New Day actually taking the pin in this match as well. Gallus really dominating for a majority of this match. Both plates are the same, so that's the only reason I showed one side. But we do move into the new era of the Gallus boy era. And there's their plates for you to get a nice shot of. So, as we mentioned on the show previously, I thought the addition of the New Day to the NXT division for a couple of months was a great idea. I thought it added some additional flair. I thought it brought some fun back into the division. It gave Kofi and Xavier a chance to hold gold in a division, a set of titles they hadn't held before. Of course, Kofi's record-breaking 15th with that one.
Congrats!
So he's now the most decorated tag team champion of all time. So congrats to Kofi.
Yes, sir.
But you just felt like along the way that it was only a matter of time before Gallus Boys on top was going to come to fruition here in the U.S. And it ended up coming to play at Vengeance Day. A couple other teams in there throwing their 2 cents in there. Brooks and Jensen had their shot. Pretty Deadly's had a couple of shots.
Ultimately,
Chase U getting involved in that match as well. The New Day, of course, the incumbents.
That was my pick. Chase U was my pick. Obviously, wore the shirt that night, and I just thought they were going to get done for real. But then you have to look at all the others, New Day and the Gallus boys and Brooks and Jensen. That's a lot of heavy hitting right there to actually for Chase U.
And the thing about it is as much as people are concerned about the tag team divisions kind of being on the weaker side right now, I'm not sure you can say that about NXT because NXT, I think the at least in the male tag team division, it might be as strong as it's ever been. It's just names that you need to get used to. Gallus, Pretty Deadly were ones that were humongous in the UK. Then they've come over here and they're trying to build up their brand. They've both held the tag team titles, Pretty Deadly twice.
Yes.
Since they've come up here. So, it's not that they're not getting pushed. It's just a matter of you just got to get used to the new names. So, and the funny part is, people are enjoying this storyline with Gallus because even though, they're a bigger, harder, fighting team in terms of size than, let's say, the New Day was, minus Big E, I guess, Gallus takes matters the same way. Ultimately, they're like, look, we'll fight anyone, anywhere. We'll be friends with you. We'll be enemies with you. We don't care. We'll take on everyone. Ultimately, they're going to defend their titles this Saturday in a triple threat against, let me see if I recall. I know it's Brooks and Jensen is one. I'm so sorry. I'm drawing a blank. I'll throw a caption on there on the bottom once I can remember who it is. But either way, it ultimately came to pass because they all went to the pool hall and got drunk. And Gallus
is it a Stacks?
Stacks and D'Angelo. Good job there because I was blanking big time. I've been having my coffee has not kicked in yet, so forgive me. Ultimately, you look at it and they're doing things very similar to the way the New Day was, with a bit of comedy involved with it. That's like, look, we like you guys or we don't like you guys. We really don't frankly care. But at this point, if you're good, hard fighting boys and you're willing to come in there and drink the Gallus boys under the table, which is no easy feat, it appears. they're willing to go defend the titles and fight against anybody out there. And you look at the teams, those were teams that were mentioned, especially D'Angelo and Stax Lorenzo, that weren't even mentioned in that list of teams that we brought up just a little while ago, just once again furthering the fact we haven't even talked about Schism yet. So, the division in terms of stables and teams in NXT is as strong as it's ever been, and they're trying to do their best to also make each person individually strong as well. So I really do feel like this is going to be a team that's going to have a hard time dropping these belts. Whoever takes it's going to earn it. A triple threat certainly makes it a little easier for the challengers. But, you've seen me personally incorrectly pick Gallus for a few times now. And finally, getting one right at Vengeance Day. So, about time. But honestly, I think they're fun to watch. I think this kind of is like an old school mentality. Of course, having that Irish-Scottish kind of background, really comes back to help you in terms of, we're just going to come in, we're going to beat the snot out of you, and we're going to move on. And, and that doesn't mean we hate you. It doesn't mean we don't like you at the end. But as soon as the bell rings, all bets are off. It's about gold at that point.
You know who they remind me of? The Revival.
Oh, FTR, absolutely.
Yes, that's who they remind me of.
And, of course, the word going around that FTR is no longer under contract. We don't do a ton of dirt sheet stuff on here, but it's hard not to mention the fact that that's a team. Of course, everyone knows what a big deal they were, especially under Triple H when he was running NXT years ago. And now, all of a sudden, now that he and Sean are basically the guys running the show, and FTR are no longer under any contract, and he's even, I think it was Dax that came out and said, there's some stuff coming up. I'm not allowed to talk about it yet, but we got some stuff coming up. You wonder if, very similar to maybe the Hardys at 33, maybe if all of a sudden they throw their name. Because it seems weird that there's only 3 teams.
Yeah, cross your fingers.
Usually you see 4.
That
seems to be the thing. So don't be shocked if all of a sudden you don't hear a familiar song playing throughout crypto.
I'd be excited about that.
Absolutely. So either way, congrats to Gallus. Neither of you follow us yet. Please do. I'll buy you a pint. I don't care. I can tell you right now, I won't drink you under the table. I promise you that. But, enjoy those. Go and spin that around for you here. Get you a decent shot. And then we're going to go ahead and move into the third and final belt of our Plate Exchange episode. We try to keep these smaller if possible, but our post-Mania one tends to always be one that, runs a bit lengthy because WrestleMania historically usually has a lot of title changes. These are actually titles that will not be on the line at WrestleMania. But as mentioned earlier, it is our new WWE main roster women's tag team champions. And that is now in the hands of... Sorry, my thing went the wrong way there. But it is the team of the man, Becky Lynch, and the WWE Hall of Famer, Lita. A year ago, they couldn't stand each other.
They really could not.
But like they both pointed out to each other, they both decided, if you're willing to fight this hard against each other, let's see how we can do with each other. And adding in the Hall of Famer that always seems to be right. And if you find Lita, typically Trish is somewhere nearby. There are some friends that you just can't separate them. And, that's definitely Alyssa and Kia in our group.
I can tell you for a guaranteed fact, again, and I've said this, I feel like the entire year, I feel like my past is meeting my present, because you understand, I love women's tag team, I love Lita, and I love Becky, and the fact that they actually were able to get on the same page and to defeat Damage Control, and then on top of that, you understand my love of Trish, got to meet her, she was very great, not saying that Becky wasn't, but getting to meet a Hall of Famer, getting to meet the person, the one woman who actually, her and Lita pulled me into wrestling, that was an experience, and I loved it, and I'm just excited.
Well, you hear that a lot from, a lot of our women followers and a lot of our women, supporters of not just our show, but of just wrestling in general, is that it was Lita and Trish that really kind of brought them into the fold, They set the standard in a division that, for all intents and purposes, had no place when they were there. Lita and Trish, you really do feel like they would have thrived in the WWE's women's division that you see today. But essentially back then, with maybe the lone exceptions of people like Jacqueline, Jazz, a couple of others that you can throw out there, maybe a Tori Wilson, for maybe not necessarily championship title purposes, the division wasn't that much back then. It was, you see mud matches and bra and panties matches, something you would never even dream of seeing today because it's just different. I'm not necessarily saying one is better than another or one is, superior to the other. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the definition, but when it comes to what you see in the ring, this right here doesn't happen 15 years ago. And so that's why this is such an important moment to see someone like Lita be able to come back, even though she's stepped away from the business. Of course, Trish is gone. She's been married for a long time. She's got a couple of kids. They're obviously older. They're not able to, move quite like they used to, but still well enough that, they're being successful at what they do. Mix in Becky Lynch, who just brings her own appeal as it is. Add in Damage Control, who have been really in the forefront of a lot of the storylines of the Raw Women's division, both for the Raw Women's title and the tag team titles for the last 8 months since SummerSlam. And you end up with a great combo here, and now you get the 6-person tag team match. A lot of negatives of people saying, this one kind of just feels like it was thrown together. But, that's kind of the, you'd be surprised that obviously a lot of matches at Mania tend to happen that way. Is that they take these names and they say, okay, let's throw it against the wall and let's see what happens. Some of them work, some of them don't.
I feel like they do that with a lot of tag teams too. Like
I agree.
New Day and Sheamus and Cesaro and Damage Control, Becky and Lita. I feel like it's not just for women, it's for men too. And you'd be surprised when you throw them together and you see how well they work together as far as chemistry, respect, technician, and how they just are able to move and flow in the ring. It's a very good thing if you could find someone who could work with you and actually get on the same page as you.
And, one of the biggest encounters that you see, and we've seen obviously since June of last year with the subsequent walkout and inevitably removal or separation from WWE by both formerly Sasha Banks and formerly Naomi, both, of course, officially no longer with WWE anymore. The biggest issue they spoke about at the time was that the women's division and the women's tag team titles were created to bring more relevancy to the women's division, and then they felt that they were not being used properly. And depending upon your point of view, you have to make your own opinion as to whether you felt they were right or whether they were wrong, because there have been times where it feels like the women's champions, it's kind of just sitting there, but they're not really doing anything. And there are a number of people who felt the Damage Control has kind of done that they're holding gold, but they're not really doing anything with it. So now you've got them on new champions like Lita and Becky, but with respects, they haven't defended them since they won them either. So you worry about things like that, and you say, okay, are they going to be able to, make these championships more relevant? Like people like Sasha, Naomi, and folks who followed behind them are willing to say needs to happen, or is it just going to be more of the same? So we're going to have to see here. It'll be interesting to see, because I don't anticipate that the storyline is going to take very long in terms of, the championships, to kind of bring an end to the storyline in terms of Damage Control either winning them back or Lita and Becky kind of finally putting them in the rearview mirror and then perhaps introducing new teams. You also look at, possible teams that are, down in NXT, are Katana and Kayden maybe ready to make that next step. They've been down in NXT for a long time. Everyone, I think it's pretty common knowledge of Triple H's love for both of them. And so, was there subsequent loss a move to, move them up to the main roster? So, and then of course, you have a lot of teams on SmackDown, that are trying to be put together. You're seeing a ton of them being kind of pushed into this women's showcase match. You've got, they've got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez teaming together.
That's not appearing.
I know, and a lot of them are. They just added Natalya and Shotzi now as a team. And then on SmackDown this last week, they added Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. They've been teaming together for a little while.
See, the last one makes a lot of sense. They've worked together. They're friends. They've been on the road together. So that one makes sense. The ones that came before it, not so much. But, we've said a lot about everybody else that's been thrown together that they make no sense, and they seem to work out.
Well, and it's all dependent upon your point of view, and I think it's also dependent upon how they're used. Because, again, one of the biggest arguments is the fact that, you're not creating any stories. You're not creating any semblance of things. You're just taking two people saying, hey, let's pair them together and let's see if it, let's throw them against the wall and see if it sticks. And I'm worried that, that's kind of what they're doing here. And it's up to Becky, Lita, and the storyline writers to make these championships relevant. Otherwise, there's really no point to them being here. So, either way, at the end of the day, we're still rooting, we're still enjoying ourselves and trying to have as much fun with it as possible, but it really does feel like the women's tag team division on the main roster appears to be the only section, at least me personally, that I can see that tends to be having some trouble right now.
Falling kind of flat,
and, I think you've got, I'm going to say along that same line that I think the right guy's in charge to fix it in Triple H and his writers. I think you've got the right guy in place who I know very much believed in Sasha Banks when she was here. And while maybe not as much time spent with Naomi because a lot of times she was on the main roster, you don't spend 14 years in WWE, especially as a female competitor, and not, get a chance to have your influence at least heard. Maybe not necessarily followed, but at least heard. So I think we're going to find out over the next, 8 months to a year heading into 40 exactly where this could be. And this could be a championship that could be one of the biggest titles talked about by this time next year. I also could just as equally see in this title not even be in existence, let's say a year from now, if they can't do something with it. So it's going to be up to them to find out, but the reality is, we're not here to discuss the politics of WWE. We're here to just discuss what we've seen, and that is new tag team champions with Lita and Becky Lynch holding the championships. How far will they hold them? How long will Lita and, I guess, Trish by proxy kind of stick around to run their stories? Are they here on a more permanent basis, or are they here to, just kind of further a WrestleMania storyline and then that's it? I guess as fans, we'll all find out together. But that brings about an end to our episode here. Hopefully everyone is excited for WrestleMania week, just like I am.
I am.
As I said, a lot of fun stuff coming up. Don't worry, you're going to see Kiana Alyssa later on this week. Also, if you've checked out our community page, I mentioned it earlier, we're going to have our top rope spoilers later on this week, so be watching for the final picks of Season 3. The OTRAs just narrowly ahead of Alyssa right now, trying to see if they can hold off the pack here. I'm not terribly far behind, and with about 25 matches this weekend, she is by no definition out of the running yet herself either. So it'll be curious to see how it goes. Of course, WrestleMania itself is also the first show that begins Season 4. So it's kind of a double point system because it brings about the end of this season, but also is the first one of the next season. So, you get a chance to also get off to a good start if you can make things work. Kia, again, we're getting ready to go to LA, just a couple of days away from hitting our plane, seeing our Mania Club family. Thoughts?
I'm excited. I've already been to LA once. It was a hard city to navigate, but once you've learned it, you got it. And the fact is, I get to go with now not only Alyssa, but we're getting to go with Steve. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait. Of course, this is always the week I look forward to outside of my birthday. No offense, our anniversary.
That's tomorrow, by the way. Wish happy birthday to anyone watching.
Thank you, you guys. I'm excited. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. Let's put it like that. Let me just leave you with that. So again, if you see us, and we will have on different jerseys, but it'll have the same thing on the back, come say hi to us. We're not gonna bite. Love you guys. Understand. We're excited. And yeah, this has been a really awesome plate exchange. Thank you for having me actually do work for you again. It's been a while.
Work usually gets in the way. We record these usually when you're handling your business. They don't pay us enough to, let this be our only job. If somebody would like to, hey, we're always looking for sponsorship. Starbucks. But, hey, if somebody wants to sponsor and let us do this, hey, we'll give you a ton more material out here if you guys want to make this our regular job. But until that day comes, we work our 9 to 5s as well, or, some of us more like 7 to 9s, but it seems like it works how it works. But either way, that's Plate Exchange. First of a lot coming up this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and be watching for us as the week goes along. WrestleMania week. You guys have a good one.
Love you. Bye.